Welcome to Point Blank, brought to you by Fitz Roofing. I'm Brandon Strange of Sports Map Houston. I am joined by ESPN 97.5 and 92.5's Joel Blank. Hey, make sure you hit like and subscribe on the channel. Really do appreciate it. Joel, let's talk some Texans. It's been quiet on the Deshaun Watson front, and as they say in the movies, a little too quiet. It's strange that after so much public sparring that's gone on, now the noise is almost completely stopped. And this has some people, especially in the media, understandably speculating that this is a sign that the two sides are negotiating behind the scenes, which that sounds likely. Rich Eisen said on his show that he heard exactly that at the draft from his sources. He said that he's hearing that these cases are going to be settled soon, and that Deshaun Watson will be traded this year. And not only that he's going to play for another team this year. That sounds like a lot. We've seen examples like the Antonio Brown situation where that case took almost 2 years to be resolved. Do you buy that Busby and Harden will be able to hammer out agreements across 22 accusers in time for him to play this year?
I think it all comes down to the mighty dollar, Brandon. I think money talks. And I think if the money is right, I think that there's a good chance that a lot of these cases are going to be solved rather quickly. And of course, when you have to put your name on them, which is what Rusty tried to do, he tried to eliminate and get that number down to single digits. I was hearing all along, if they got it down to single digits, it was going to be a complete buyout just to try and end it as quickly as possible. And to your point about the suspensions and when the punishments come down on an Antonio Brown, I always reference the Zeke Elliott. He never was convicted. He was accused. There was a lot of back and forth. And at the end of the day, he still got 6 games. So I would think that the minimum that Deshaun Watson's going to get is 6 games. But I don't think that's going to hold teams back from trying to see if the Texans are willing now to move and move Deshaun Watson so that they might be able to swoop in, not have to give up as much draft capital, and be able to capitalize on getting a quarterback that's still in his prime.
I want to talk about some possible teams that would be part of that trade. But before we do that, give us a word from Fitz Roofing.
We love Fitz Roofing. Whether you need a new roof on your business or your house or a roof repair, or you're just looking for some home repairs or maybe a new fence in your yard, there's only one place to call. It's Fitz Roofing. They got the best warranties, the best ratings, and the best people doing work on a daily basis. And they do it all with a free, no obligation inspection that costs you absolutely nothing to do. 832-521-3001. Fitz Roofing, making a difference one home at a time.
So Peter King, he's giving the Eagles and the Panthers the best odds at landing Deshaun. And that makes sense because those two teams were definitely interested in him before the civil suits came up, and it would stand to reason that they'd still be interested once we're closer to a resolution on these legal issues. So for the Eagles, would you be interested in a trade that would bring Jalen Hurts to Houston?
No, I would not. I'm not sold on Jalen Hurts as a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think he's closer to Taysom Hill than he is a guy that you're going to look to lead your franchise and be a franchise quarterback. So that's absolutely not going to be something that, if I'm Nick Caserio, is going to float my boat enough to say, let's go sailing.
Oh, that makes sense. And with the Panthers, do you think they would be more interested in bringing in like a big haul of picks, or in that case, could you see Sam Darnold being involved?
See, that's where I'm a little bit torn. I don't think that Carolina, for what they just gave up and what they did, should be willing to give up Sam Darnold so quickly. But I'm also, if I'm the Texans, I'm not going to take another team's throwaway for the second time and think that he's going to be the answer for me, whether it be short-term or long-term either. I'm going to need a boatload of picks. If there are players on the roster that I'm interested and intrigued by, those are going to come up in the conversation. At this point, I don't think Christian McCaffrey in Carolina is a guy based on his contract number is something that they should be looking at either. They're in a full rebuild. They need as many draft picks as possible. Now that the draft is passed, you don't even know where these draft picks are going to fall next year. So the more the merrier, because at least a couple of them need to hit. And then you need some foundational players. You need to focus on guys you can get that are already established but are young enough. Maybe it's on the defensive line or linebacking core or in the secondary where they're always in need of help, where they can get young guys that can help them now, and such as their first-round pick this year, a guy in Horn that could fall into that mode of, hey, there's a high number one from this last draft that we can immediately plug and play and is going to be a foundational player. Other than that, I'm not really interested in Sam Darnold either. I think you'll have your pick of whoever you want once you get your own picks, because you're going to be really bad for the next year or two.